obviously, you and I, we're hoping for a 3-game series here between these two teams, Jonathan. Something close, because it is for the first position in NA. I mean, there's no two ways about it, unless, you know, Nouns or Shopify end up winning this and losing their next matchup, which I wouldn't be able to believe. It'd be incredible if they don't come first, as we do see both teams running into each other already. Smoke broken here by Arteezy, and Nouns, realizing they've been caught, they'll get a quick ward down. That'll be about it. They'll back the hell out of there.
So it's also a little bit interesting to note in this draft from Nouns, this is a 0 universal hero lineup. I have not seen that at all. I feel like you always at least get one Void Spirit or Pango, but just nothing. So Nouns.
Did you say from Nouns?
Yeah, from Nouns, no universal.
They've got the Timber, John.
All right. I always forget because it feels like he's one here that doesn't feel amazing with it. You know, it's like you don't necessarily focus on your right clicks anyway. I suppose 1 up against 2, not the worst thing.
He's setting up for the bounty rune top. This could be quite dangerous. Shopify Rebellion are casually just waiting, and Moo should eventually realize it. Won't go for it. We'll just back off. Is going to be a 2 for 2 anyway. Not too big of a deal. A very even start. And as per usual, we should start off with the mid lane matchup. It is going to be Gunnar on the mid Timber. He is going to be playing up against Abed on the mid Pengalir. So I think hero matchup wise, we both agree that the Timbersaw should have a pretty good time, especially as the levels do come up. I imagine Gunnar is probably going to go the max Whirling Death route. Probably not too much of a need for the chains early on. But John, this is Abed we're talking about. So, you know, it's not an easy matchup in that sense for Gunnar.
Yeah, but this is also Gunnar we're talking about. He loves these kinds of more niche mid pickups. I think the lane matchup for the Tim just feels better. Even your right click harass onto Abed feels a little bit better. Although first blood to start off with.
Oh, might be a double here. John Arteezy's moving in. Lelis, one more hit. Arteezy wants it so bad. He won't go for it. He doesn't have level 1 thirst yet, so sadly he will not be able to go for the chase. But first blood going to your position 1 Bloodseeker, you couldn't be happier.
It's a fantastic start already for Artur. And Moo keeps walking in trying to trample. They've got the Illuminate, but Artur doesn't care. He has another. He's just trading. Once he hits level 2, this is much more sustainable. And again, this lane matchup for Nouns, it's not the worst thing, but it does need quite a fair bit. It does feel like your launching point's really like this level 3 on Lelis, where you can have maybe a 1-1-1 going, having the Blinding Light to push back, to play with that trample a bit better, and having the Chakra to spam out your spells. But first blood to start off with Shopify Rebellion onto Arteezy's, more than enough to get you going here. And for the most part, with first up, it shouldn't be easy to zone him out.
Fly, he can't get in range for the Frost Blast. They will land the Blood Right, but that's going to be about it. I think that's the point. Like, Shopify have to try and abuse the early timings of that level. Level 1, level 2, because as they do get higher levels in the offlane of Nouns, it does feel like they have the advantage in terms of the hero matchups. But we will have to wait and see if they can outplay Shopify's. We should have a look at the bot lane as well. You've got Crit and Saberlight. They're going to be up against Yamsun and Husky. The Medusa already quite low on mana, but it's kind of the thing. Early on, you tend to get a little bit low, but as you start spamming Mystic Snake, it tends to be less and less of an issue. But this is also Saberlight on Darksea we're talking about. This guy, he does love his lane shenanigans. So God only knows what's going to happen in this lane.
You can easily melt through the shield if you do commit and run up. I think you've got some aggressive plays you can bring out here on Shopify Rebellion. The thing is, the CM can cut you off pretty well. So I think just an even farming lane is pretty all right for Darkseer, although you will have to find some way to apply pressure on this Dusa sooner rather than later. I mean, you don't want Yamsun to just sit back and farm, as I'm pretty sure Shopify Rebellion knows how fast the Dusa can farm left alone. So we'll see what the solution is down the line. Perhaps the level 2 Iron Shell this time. I mean, you do have it up for Saberlight, but again, CM just prevents you from fully committing to sticking to the Dusa. Overall, pretty good back and forth start. The lanes for Nouns, again, are looking pretty decent. Gunnar's having a better time mid. You're kind of being able to keep farm up really well in Yamsun. Not as much pressure onto that Dusa in comparison to our Bloodseeker. So you've got the foundations despite bleeding out that first blood. You're not losing too much more. You've got this launching point and gunner that will be online fairly fast. And the answers from Shopify Rebellion for some of these items, for some of these level spikes even, it doesn't feel smooth, right? Like your solution for Timbersaw is more like damage over time, maybe a lucky set of bounces from the Chain Frost when you have 6 on your Lich. Not as easy and not as smooth to kind of prevent nouns from snowballing once they do hit these initial spikes.
I mean, there has been a pretty big slowdown. The bottom lane, Saberlight. Gonna try and creep skip here with the level 2 Iron Shot, but he's in danger now. He's been blocked off. Yamson gonna hit the Mystic Snake, and that's gonna be enough. Oh, a little bit unfortunate there for Saberlight, getting blocked by the creep wave and the tree liners. Mid lane, even Arbed proving to be in a lot of danger. Is gonna shield crash away from Gunner. Luckily for him, Gunner was 2 seconds away from having that Whirling Death available. But you can see the Timber now going for the dive in past the tier 1 tower, forcing Arbed away on the Pango. And this is based off the hero matchup. Like Arbed, he can't do anything about this. He just has to kite the Timber around. But Gunner, he's not even focusing on CS now. He just says, screw that. I'm going after this hero.
Yeah, just zone out. Just get as much as you can from this lane. Make it as hellish as possible for Abed. He's not going to get a bottle refill from any TP at all.
Another kill, Husky. And Yamson doing such a great job down in this bot lane as Crit very fire up, trying to run. It is not going to be enough, Yamson. Able to secure the kill. I've got to give props to Husky, John. This man, he's always in the right position down at this bot lane to set up a kill for his teammate. As Gunner, he's going to force out Abed mid lane. Abed forced TP back towards the fountain. Has to walk back.
Again, it's the strength of these lanes from now. It's just way up there. The only lane that's probably suffering is up top for Moo, but it is a primal beast. Probably doesn't need too much to get going anyway. It just really needs the levels up. So you're fine with all of this coming out here for now. It's like, how do you stop Gunner? How do you stop Yamson at this point? Level 5.
Husky's here, John, but Moo's gonna go down already. Crit was there with the rotation as well on the Rubik. So both teams have the exact same idea, but Crit does make it there first, and Moo was trying to get to the Lotus Pool, but ends up giving his life away. So it seems like Crit getting some D wards off. Very nice on the high ground there on the cliff, but looks like Husky already preemptively waiting around the Wisdom Rune area to not allow Crit to rotate to get it, but Crit is starting to move in. We know how important these Wisdom Runes are, and Nouns have been especially good at securing 2 Wisdom Runes every single time at the 7-minute mark from the games we've seen from them recently. This time around, I think they're only gonna get away with 1, but they're denying Shopify access to their own Wisdom Rune, which is quite nice.
Yeah, they're making it a little bit trickier. Saberlight will get that done for their own, at the least. So you're not going to get too many shenanigans coming out here. I do have to say, these solo lanes coming out on bot, it's really favorable for Yamson. Level 6 now, he had some camp stacked up. He's just clearing out, getting that farm he wants. You're not getting any rotations onto mid to help Abed out, so Gunner is just free to do Timbersaw things with a maxed out Whirling Death. Not here that you can easily run down now. And I don't know, like, I'm not sure when Shopify Rebellion is going to be comfy taking fights, right? That's the one thing with this draft. It feels like you're asking for a vac wall plus a roll on top and then connecting with Chain Frost, which is easier said than done here.
Top lane, Moo's going to be chased down. Does have the uproar though, so we'll force Arteezy to back off. Arteezy doesn't really mind too much, just wanting the CS. Needs to be able to keep up with the Deucer. When I say keep up, I mean get to a stage as the Bloodseeker where he can try to outpace the Medusa this game. As Crit is being chased down, Yamson would love himself a kill. The Blood Grenade does actually land right on the edge. Yamson, though, he gives up on the chase. I think if Husky landed the Crystal Nova like he did, he probably could have gone and Mystic Snaked him. Never mind, though, Husky just going to secure the kill himself. This CM, he's playing so well this game. It's Husky now trying to find a way out of this situation. Frostbitten is Saberlight, and Yamson's going to cut him off. Saberlight cannot continue the chase, though he does have Surge up now, but won't bother.
He loses the illusion, can't really keep that chase up. again, you're kind of tied into playing side lanes. You're not able to help mid, and your side lanes aren't really working out in your favor right now for Shopify Rebellion. So Gunnar just keeps getting to run away on mid. This is worrying. Abed just doesn't have much to play with right now.
Rupture, Gunnar immediately TPing out, and there's a gaze available. Fly's got him. Gunnar. Actually,
Jeez.
hold on a minute, Abed. He does die first. So not the worst case scenario for Nouns. At least handing over the bonus XP to the Timber before he does end up dropping. But still probably a pretty important kill here for Shopify Rebellion.
Yeah, you needed some relief. You would have preferred if Abed was around for that kill to gain some of that EXP, but you slow down the Timbersaw just a tad bit. You know, you prevent Gunnar from being completely uncontrollable. Again, like, every time you make these moves, though, like, something else happens for Nouns. Like, they're not losing out. This is still a free lane for Yamson. He's still free farming on the Dusa whenever you go down mid instead. If you go down bot, it's difficult to kill off a Dusa with your lineup unless you get, like, the illusion up. Even then, it's not doing a lot of damage at this point. You don't have the Fusel up yet for Abed. So your solutions are just going to take time on Shopify Rebellion. They have the slight net worth lead, but Nouns are starting to get that momentum.
The chase was on for the Pango. Abed, cool, calm, and collected. Going to walk away from the situation. Does still get a power rune here with the shield rune being picked up. Looks like he'll try to rotate down bottom where there was a wall dropped by Saberline. The wall does get a Medusa illusion out of it, forcing Yamsun to pop Stone Gaze. Just to be able to get away as top lane. Mu, trying for the TP play out, is going to make it. It's kind of the hard part about the top duo is you'd need to hold on to that gaze. Otherwise, you've just got no way to cancel the TPs through the Rupture. And sadly, Fly used it a little bit earlier. Could not cancel the TP.
Yeah, you just get to bail out, get a reset here for Mu. He's going to have to walk back to lane, but again, you don't mind too much. Artur is still farming decently enough. Maelstrom fully up on the Bloodseeker. Collapsing bot here, though.
They're going to try for this with a double Iron Show. Yamsun, he does not have Stone Gaze. He popped it earlier to try and get away from the Darkseer, so Yamsun dropping low. Still has some mana to speak of. Fly, he's going to go for the Sinister Gaze, and with the Frost Blast, he secures the kill, but here comes Husky. With the Crystal Nova and the Freezing Field, trying to lock down Saberlight. Saberlight still looking to try and fight against three heroes. Solar Bind is going to hold him down. Fly right behind him in case he needs it. And in fact, they might find Husky. Husky in the tree line trying to hide will go turn around for the team fight, but can't do it. The CM will drop. And Shopify now grouping up as 5 down at the bottom lane. Looks like they want to try securing the bottom tier 1 tower, and they will do so. Meanwhile, top lane Mu was trying to rotate through the twin gates, but realized it probably wasn't safe as they did not have the vision to actually see exactly who was at the twin gates on the bottom side of the map. And now Mu might still be in danger because Arteezy's got the Rupture. Does pop it. Mu, he'll onslaught TP away. Crit trying to get in range for the lift up, does get it. Another nice kill here onto the off lane of Nouns. As Mu is going to drop, and Arteezy will pick up his 3rd kill of the game as the Bloodseeker.
And again, for Shopify Rebellion, they're hitting that point where they are getting a lot more presence out. Abed under a bit of pressure down mid, not quite enough to kill him off. Does cancel his TP. Full Diffusal up now for the Pango. So this is the point where managing the Dusa does simplify itself. Speaking of, you know, in a way as well, the Lich with the Sinister Gaze, if you don't need it to cancel any channels.
Oh. Bad timing, Abed. He's caught. Fly, gonna go for the Sinister Gaze. Frostbitten is there for Abed. Fly, trying to run. No way out here as the Lich, but Sablelight's gonna show up now, trying to maybe find a bit of a trade.
Ooh.
And they will take him. Crit with the Bloodright. Excuse me, the Whirling Death damage is what did it. And, well, that's one way to deal with the Timber. Just take Whirling Death.
Yeah, Rubik uses it fairly well. Don't want to have to get hit by that around a lot of trees as well for the Timb. A lot of back and forth, some sacrifices being made. There's a little bit, it's definitely better for Nouns for sure, but you're not too unhappy with Shopify Rebellion kind of picking that up as well. So a rather even game. You and I were wondering how close this game could really be. Game 1 is already shaping up to be a lot of back and forth. Like this is This is the kind of game you want from your number 1 and number 2 nouns. They're looking good. But Shopify aren't out of it. Not at all. Still maintaining a slight lead. They've got some Medusa answers lined up. Yamson, though, already has the Manta with the power treads and is going for that butterfly. So he'll hit that early point where Medusa is going to be pretty hard to burst down. You're going to have to rely on some good spellcasting instead to try to find that solution. And for nouns, this is the point where you'd want them to start grouping up, take some tier 1s. They are rushing towards top, at least Gunner is. They've smoked up their 2 supports as well. They could try to force something out here.
And they're going to try. Nouns heading up top. They'll hang around Moo. Try and get Moo to bait. Shopify Rebellion, they have smoked up as 3. So they'll head in through the mid lane, up the river, try to sneak up behind Nouns where they won't be expecting the rotation to come from. Problem is now it's a 5 hero matchup here from Nouns. They've got the Medusa to join them. But that might actually work in Shopify's favor because they'd love to take down Yamson again if they can. Husky, looks like he'll be the first one to break the smoke. So he'll catch the CM, not the biggest kill. Husky probably happy to tank the gank in that situation. And Shopify, that's all they get away with. So really probably not worth their time. Unless they catch Yamson who's farming triangle. Abed, not going to be able to reach him. Just goes for the Watcher instead. Does have the Diffusal Blade up, so you can go for the Inhibit. But ultimately, I think Yamson will just pop Stone Gaze and still walk away, so they'll just leave him be.
Just allowed to, again, keep farming, keep building up on that Dusa. The triangle is invaded for a little bit. No real stacks to steal away, as that was already cleared out by Yamson earlier. But again, Shopify is doing a great job of trying to choke out what Nouns is doing. Like, just the fact that they have to retreat from top without doing damage to the tier 1 is more than enough. That's a lot of time expended dragging in your Dusa away from the jungle, losing out on some of that gold, and just using time against them. And Shopify Rebellion are the ones still maintaining this aggressive posturing mid, forcing 3 heroes to just respond to the pokes that Abed has. They're not even fully committing from Shopify Rebellion. So this is space for Artur. Farm into his BKB, only the recipe away. You are getting free space for Mudo, and he is also working onto the BKB. So the debuff immunity is going to be big on both sides. Once you've got this BKB on Mu, nothing stops him from just running around here, which is a concern. Like that,
Speak of Mu, the devil, he does appear. Mu getting jump, Chain Frost immediately out there. He's going to try an onslaught, but a nice gaze from Fly to cancel that off. But Mu, he's proving to be just so tanky. Sableye is still trying to take him out as in comes crit. But Mu, he just, with the Vanguard, he just tanks through it. Even with all that committed, he still walks away.
Just a little bit too tanky. That's them throwing every spell they had. Crit, going for the spell steal early before the Pulverize comes out, also doesn't have that option to try to lock in. At the same time, you're not losing anything in Shopify Rebellion. Again, you're kind of doing just space for Artur to farm. They should have the room to clear out that top now. So you will have the objective coming through for Nouns, but Shopify Rebellion have some room to shove in mid as well, with no early response coming out from Nouns at this point. So should be able to at least maybe gun for a tier 1 trade, mid for top, which isn't too bad for Shopify Rebellion considering they've already found bot. So you're more than happy with this, although it's not the fastest. Even with the DD up on Abed, there's enough time to drag Yamson in and force them back a little bit.
Speaking of Yamson, mid lane is where he's hanging about as Abed. The double damage rune, just clearing out the creep wave. Not interested whatsoever in trying to deal with the Medusa at the moment. Once the creep wave gone, make sure they cannot push into the tier 1 mid tower. And that seems to be what the team matchup is all about right now. Like, both teams very focused on just pushing out all the waves in every single lane. The Nouns might have an inherent advantage considering they do have a Keeper of the Light. So you can kind of rely on Lelis to take care of a lot of that work in the side lanes. Win probability, though, you just saw it, sitting at 29% for Nouns, so Shopify Rebellion. You know, even though it's quite a close game, Shopify is still the outright winners according to Dota Plus, as Shopify, oh, they're going to find Yamsun. This is the big one. Yamsun hanging around in the triangle, already losing most of his mana, though he does pop the Stone Gaze and tries to walk away, but the Rupture is still going. Yamsun, he'll try to just tank through this. Onto the high ground he goes. Arteezy, he'll bring him right back down, but he's in trouble now. Arteezy getting pulverized, but he does kill off Yamsun. Saberlight the one to take the kill, and now he can back his way out successfully as Saberlight will just keep going. A secondary kill here for the Darkseer. Moo able to walk out of there. Gunner is still trying to fight, but he's out of mana. And Crit's got the Chakram. So Crit will deal with the Timber Saw. 3 down for Nouns. As Shopify, they want more. They found Moo, Arteezy and Crit. The dynamic duo take care of it. The mid-tier one is now officially gone, and Shopify wipe out 4 of them.
And we're seeing the effect of Crit just having all of this early activity coming out, like this fast blink, allowing him to find these angles in the middle of these fights. Just really awkward for Nouns. They didn't really have vision in their own triangle. The invasion's a massive success. They cut off the Dusa when it's all alone. Yamsun, his backup comes in just a little bit too late. And even though, again, you're farming up pretty well, you've been overtaken now by the side of Shopify Rebellion in terms of the core-to-core matchups on farm. You're hitting all of these item spikes that make it awkward for the Dusa to even have that impact. Heck, Saberlight's not even gunning for the full Crimson Guard anymore. He's just going for the Ags. He wants that Dusa illusion, but down the line, eventually, when you go back for that Crimson Guard, that is something that just stops a Dusa in its tracks. Like, the barrier makes it so awkward for you to look for the output, look for that burst in these fights, and none of your heroes on Nouns outside of perhaps the Timbersaw are really all too bursty here.
Yeah. Well, Husky getting caught here by Crit. The Chakram being very annoying. Crit, though, not going to die for the... Oh, no, he will. Never mind what I said. Easiest kill. Meanwhile, smoke across the map here from Shopify Rebellion. Said they may find Lelis. Oh, Yamsun's so close by as well, but smoke is broken. Lelis, he'll be the one to tank the gank here for the team. That'll allow Yamsun to get out. Apparently, Arbe just farms a Aghanim Scepter in the meantime on the Pango. And going back to the Saberlight Ags on the Darkseer, it's so good against Medusa. Like, it's so good. So I really like the itemization, and I think I agree with your point as well regarding the Crimson. Like, you can afford to get this item a little bit later, and it's still going to do so much against the Dusa.
Yeah, like, Dusa just hates it. Like, split shot is something you want to play with Crimson Guard on everyone. Just, it feels awful at Dusa. This is one of the games where, you know, it feels like the Dusa might just not do any damage in the middle of these fights. You're going to have to rely on Gunner. You're going to have to rely on Moo to try to get things going when these engagements break out, and hope that they last long enough that the Dusa can just pull in and try to use the Stone Gaze, get them a little bit softer, whittle them down more. But Shopify Rebellion, even this Lich, right? Like, with Frost Shield up, all this armor that can come onto any hero, it doesn't feel good. Dusa is just, she's a little bit strange in that sense, that her power spikes rely on her bursting down some squishy heroes, but no one on Shopify Rebellion feels squishy at all. The threat just isn't there from this hero. We'll have to see how Yamsun kind of deals with that. Opting instead to finish up the Hurricane Pike, going for the Scotty, so skipping the Butterfly Rush. And for Shopify Rebellion, I mean, Roche is open for 2 minutes until it switches sides. They'll just gun for it. Nothing to stop them. Full Mjolnir on Arteezy. He's going for the Ags as well, Mikey. Blood Mist with a barrier. What did I say? The barrier's pretty damn good.
I mean, I guess this item's kind of good against Dusa, right? Right?
Yes.
Is it good? I can't tell.
I'd argue it's maybe a little bit better against Timbersaw, because you can just heal true. The self-damage, you heal true with your shard when you right-click something like the Timbersaw with his high HP. Even something like the Primal Beast as well. Dusa not so much, because you literally lose more because of her HP.
Yeah.
Like, you're not lifestealing much with your shard there.
Sorry about that, John. I don't look into trash items very often, so you
Oh.
have to excuse me for not knowing
It's
about
okay.
this Bloodseeker
It's
ads.
okay. You're a trash player. You don't need to look at trash items to see trash, Mike.
Hey. No need for that. We've got personal rule done quick. My goodness.
Would you be less offended if I said trash caster in comparison to trash player?
What am I casting with fear right now? Goodness, what happened to you, John?
I spend some time in sea. I get really toxic, Mike. That's all it is. You know how our region is. You know, it's a lot of trash talk, but not much trash talking here. Just clean gameplay coming out from Shopify Rebellion, maintaining that 8K lead. I mean, you see Yamson bounce back to the top, but the Dusa has no real net worth advantage, just parity with a Bloodseeker. Your next spike is Gunner's Ags, which, I mean, it's nice. I don't know if you care for it on Shopify Rebellion. You've still got magic damage to nail onto the Timber Saw anywhere. So it doesn't feel like it's going to be the best Ags game on Gunner. I guess, to be fair, Artur won't be able to just dig in, but that's where the Blood Mist comes into play. Magic damage doesn't care for that barrier.
I love it. I mean, I know you're happy with this Aghanims pickup. You always get so excited. I'm sure you're going to have some stupid interview question regarding this Ags ready. It's Shopify Rebellion. Group up mid lane.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
You know, if anyone from Valve's watching, there's nothing that would make me happier than this Ags on Bloodseeker being removed. So John would stop talking about it.
No! Don't do it! Please!
Yamson?
You know, I've been... Okay, this is a bit of a segue while nothing's happening on the map right now. I've been enjoying the Abaddon talent with Immolation on your ult. So you get Cloak of Flames, you get Radiance, then you get that talent. It's like, oh, look at me burn, baby! It's fun. It's kind of stupid, but it's fun.
John. This is why we're never taken seriously. Smooth.
I mean, I do it in Turbo, you know. Turbo is not real, so there it is.
Thank you, John. We always appreciate your input. So now it's still 7K behind. They need some input right now, Jonathan. They're a little bit behind. 7K to be exact. Dota Plus sitting at 19% in Nouns' favor, so not the best at the moment in terms of percentages. Most of the map is taken by Shopify Rebellion. Like, they have pretty much dominated 3/4 of the map here.
What's Husky doing up top here, Mike?
He's farming, John.
No,
he's
Husky.
been farming I know, he's been farming. That's what he's doing.
Okay. Fair enough. He's farmed into Glimmer Cape. That is an item that actually helps him massively with all this magic damage, so fair enough.
You may not like it, but this is what Prime Pos 5 gameplay looks like.
Specifically
farm when
Prime
everybody else is-
CM gameplay. This is
Yeah.
peak CM gameplay. There's
It
the
is peak.
axe.
That's not peak.
Let's
Rupture
go.
out. Gunner's also got an Ags, by the way, though. So he's got that reactive armor Ags upgrade now. Not going to be as easy as to deal with the man anymore.
Yeah, but you've got magical damage. You know, just pop the Blood Mist on. And that doesn't care for the barrier, I'm telling you. And then your overheal is much better consistently up there, your barrier on the Bloodseeker in comparison to the Timbersaw, which is on a cooldown.
Well, Sableite's courier goes down. That was his Ags that ends up going down now for another 2.5 minutes. So sadly, he does lose that for at least 2.5. That'll give Nouns a bit of an opening to try and abuse. So it seems like they have grouped up somewhat, but even without the Dark Sea Ags, I don't think you're in any way fit to fight Shopify Rebellion at the moment. Not as 5 at least. Maybe if you catch them solo, it'd be a bit of a different story, but in a 5v5 matchup, I just can't see it happening for Nouns. Not quite yet.
Yeah, it's still a little bit tough. You need Yamson to have something to play with outside of all these defensive items he has. Like, he's had to go full defense. BKB, Manta with Hurricane Pike. Going for the Silver Edge as a damage torch, that could be one way to get things done. Like, a break on Bloodseeker is actually pretty big. Also, it's kind of funny. When Aegis expires on Bloodseeker, he just gets a full barrier. So it's not painful for a Bloodseeker to just be passive with it. He'll maintain a good amount of barrier as long as you get some CS going.
4-man smoke up here from Nouns. They're going to head down. They see the Bloodseeker. There's no Aegis available. It just expired, so Arteezy, he's in a bit of a danger zone here. He's going to go for a bit of a run. Gunner keeping up. They don't seem to have detection, so Arteezy got away with the Glimmer Cape Invis, and now the turnaround is out onto Moo. Pulverize is out onto the Bloodseeker. Chain Frost being committed as well. Arteezy, though, he is literally just healing through it. Can he keep going? It doesn't seem like it. He is down. Moo actually walking out for now, but the chase is still on from Abed, who does take him out. Yamson in the meantime dropping very low in mana, but is going to be fine to survive through it. 2 down for Shopify Rebellion so far, and it seems like that's going to be about it for now. And Jonathan, I can't believe what I'm seeing. The Aghanim Scepter, it didn't do anything.
You know, he didn't manage to turn it on. He just got chain stunned, melted down, feeling a bit confident. Gunner tips out Artur as well as he pings out the damage done to him. It's like, yeah, that's Timbersaw for you. It just rips right through you. And good punishment from Nouns. You know, we're memeing a little bit, but that was some really good punishment on the overconfidence of Shopify Rebellion. And again, we've seen Shopify Rebellion do this sometimes where, okay, wait, Arthur did 1,249 to himself. Did he? He didn't turn on Blood Mist.
I'm pretty sure I saw it, John. I saw it.
Fair enough. Fair play. There
you go.
See,
happy,
now
John?
you just build
he did more damage
Bloodstone.
to himself.
Yeah, but build Bloodstone so you lifesteal off the Blood Mist.
He did more damage to himself than the enemy by pressing Blood Mist. This is why I hate this hero so much. Like, this axe is so
good.
stupid.
It's so good. Wow. Just hurt yourself in confusion, but it can be good. You don't even need to turn it on, Arthur. Literally, just use it for the barrier. You don't need to turn it on. I wonder if it's...
5-man smoke.
nullifier.
Don't think too hard, Jonathan. 5-man smoke is out from Nouns. Oh, it's going to be a big play. Moo, he'd love to jump in. They didn't have the initial vision. Saberlight, he'll go for a back wall. He found 2 of them with that back wall, but he's still been kind of caught. There's also a rupture on Moo right now, so he cannot move. He has to stand his ground and hope for the best as he's going to try for a TP out. Moo, he's going to make it. What happened to the K's? CM is going to go down. Those gaze chains went a mile away, John. So Fly apparently landed it. Meanwhile, Arbet going to keep going with the Rolling Thunder after Gunner. Will hold down the Timber, but it's a pretty messy team fight. I mean, they've only lost Husky so far on the side of Nouns. Shopify Rebellion still fighting as 5. And it seems like Husky will be the only hero to go down in this team fight.
Yeah, so the Sinister Gaze does not pierce debuff immunity, but you know, you can still cast spells, so...
But I could have sworn I saw it, is my point.
Yeah, it went off. It's just the BKB was still running on Moo, so it did literally nothing.
Right. So it shows the animation, right.
It shows the animation. That's the one thing that would debuff immunity changes in BKB.
Oh, that's annoying.
It is funky. It's a bit baity, but it is what it is. They're grouping up. Roshan's still a minute away, so no instant take here for Nouns. And now Shopify Rebellion, we've got to see them execute. Like, we see a big vac wall from Saberlight, no real follow-up. The engagements are a little bit awkward from the side of Shopify Rebellion. It needs to be cleaner. Like, you've got to be able to follow through on this opening from Saberlight. You've got to be able to get the pachinko machine off from Fly, get the bounces out. Could be an awkward win here.
Getting jumped, Saberlight did use the normal punch for that as Gunner. I mean, he's still very, very tanky. He's a Timbersaw after all with a Dagon up, so, you know, not the easiest target. I just spotted the Dagon, in fact. Obviously, against the Darkseer, just getting rid of those illusions is going to be very, very good. Saberlight. Gonna back his way out. Not going to try and dive in, but Nouns, they are still positioning for a fight. Almost hoping Saberlight does run in blindly. He will not do so, but Nouns are still slowly walking their way over. Never mind though, Moo does end up TPing up towards the top side of the map with the Twin Gate. So it doesn't seem like they're going to be quite interested in the team fight now. Said it's back to split pushing the lanes. Shopify Rebellion still Go on.
I'm curious about one thing about the Dagon. So if you use it to kill off non-ancient creeps instantly, do you heal for 75% of the HP of that non-ancient creep? That's a lot of healing. It's a good pocket heal in that sense.
Well, Roshan's going to get started here, John. I don't know the answer to that question. Sure, we can look it up after this. Nullifier now up on Arteezy, so pretty big spike here for the Bloodseeker. We'll leave the Orb of Corrosion in the jungle somewhere as nouns. Rupture is out. They caught Gunner this time. With the Nullifier, they should have a much easier time trying to deal with this man as he tries to chain away but cannot do so. He just has to stand his ground, and Gunner is melting to Arteezy's damage. He will go down, but the immediate buyback is there. He'll try to make his way back into the team fight as Arvid is going to go down, but he has no buyback. No Pango left for the fight. So now Shopify looking to try and retreat. Saberlight trying to run. Meanwhile, Pulverize out onto Gunner as Crit. He had held on to it. A very quick reaction as well as Saberlight finally goes down on the Darks here. Crit will be able to get away. But considering it only cost them one buyback, you have to call that a pretty big win for Nouns, as now Roshan is open for them.
I like that read from Nouns, understanding that they can take the follow-up fight without the threat of the wall coming through anymore. It just wasn't the fight Shopify Rebellion would find. I'm a little bit curious to why we haven't seen the Chain Frosts flying out from Fly. It feels like it's just not coming out in these fights. You need that magical damage to stack on top here to follow through with that control. They cover that buyback with the Aegis on Gunner. And you've got a lot of play on the side of Nouns. Even if they're 8k behind, the game is starting to feel easier for them to execute with the damage output they are getting, the scaling they're reaching with Yamson, the Silver Edge causing a lot of issues in the middle of these engagements now as well. You've got the answers on Nouns. The Dusa, it's at this point in the game where it's a lot harder to manage. You can't just instantly melt its mana. With your Diffusal on Pango, you can't really just sit there and Sinister Gaze the Dusa. The illusions you're getting from Saberlight are still impactful, but it's finding the backline that's a little bit more difficult here for Shopify Rebellion.
Yamson, this is not the place you want to farm in right now, I don't think, but Shopify, they're actually going to run away here as the Nouns were slowly making their way up. So Yamson was alone for a moment, but not for too long. Nouns remaining as a team. They understand the importance of having those numbers available in these team fights. It's the Tormentor, of course, going to be focused down here by Nouns. Not willing to allow Shopify to take that away from them. Mid lane Gunner was trying to be jumped here by Shopify, but he chains away in time. Shopify, they are still playing as if they own most of the map, and they kind of do right now, based on the fact that they feel so much more confident on this map. Whereas Nouns, you look at them, they're kind of grouped up in mid-tier 2. They might pop a smoke here, I think. Otherwise, what are you even doing standing as a 5? It seems like they are literally just going to stick as a team. So they'll give up a lot of the map here, but they just want to make sure that they're behind Yamsun. I suppose the one thing you can't afford right now is for your Medusa to die.
You don't have the Aegis on to do so, obviously giving it to Gunner for that buyback. So you don't want to risk too much. Inside of Shopify Rebellion are happy enough to just camp down bot. The Lions are drawn from Artur. Pretty good read as to where they were on Nouns end. They were in mid, rotating to top. Still not going to be able to fully do anything about that. Instant TP cancel coming out there from Saberlight as well, as he was under vision. Not going to be able to get a surprise factor in that defense up top. And again, you've equalized the game quite a fair bit on Nouns. The win probability rises up to 40% for them now. They've taken a lot of these fights in Shopify Rebellion have been starting. And for Shopify Rebellion, again, just certain things not quite lining up. Not being able to utilize your magic damage fully. Your initiation angles have been mildly awkward for Shopify Rebellion as well. So it's all going to be down to execution, because that you really need to execute to kind of go up against this Deuce at this point. Just really durable, lots of output starting to come through. And again, your response here isn't straightforward. And now with a Scotty up as well for Yamson, he's not that scared of Artur. The Bloodseeker just doesn't feel good running into all of that slow, all of that control through the BKB. It's a lot harder to play that game.
What a position Nouns have found themselves in, John. High ground here for Nouns. Trusting their draft. And it's gotten to the point where this Medusa's a real problem as they're going to try and jump on Gunner, but a nice chains away. Arbit's still going to find the Medusa. Saberlight does go for the Vac War. He has got the Medusa in that, but Yamsun is walking away. Problem is he's losing a lot of mana, but he will Stone Gaze TP with the BKB. Still, Shopify, they want to chase. They want something for all this trouble. Gunner is going to be the big target. Normal punch is there. He is silenced up as well. Gunner's still trying to run, but there's just too much. He will lose the Aegis. That'll be the first life around. They want the second though. Gunner unable to chain away as the normal punch was there again. And this time Arbit, he will take the life of the Timber. He's looking for maybe a little bit more, but they barely miss out on Moo. So they've got the Timber Sword down for 100 seconds without buyback. That was his dieback being made here by Gunner. In Shopify, they do protect the T3 top tower as well as the racks. Nouns maybe getting a little bit too excited.
Yeah, just... No, I don't think they disrespected the defense from Shopify Rebellion, but they get caught off guard. They had to ditch their Timber Saw. They had to protect Yamps and have him bail out a little bit early there. So you lack some of that forward presence, forward damage that the Dusa has been giving you. And now for Shopify Rebellion, with those kills, they need to find some tier 2s. Mid wave is incoming. Top wave is pretty far off, although you at least have one wave meeting another here. So you can try to get some chip damage in. That's a lot of time without Gunner. Again, the Timber Saw is a lot of your disruptiveness in these fights, a lot of your damage as well.
Jump in. Pulverizes out Arteezy. Oh, he's gone.
What?
He was farming on his own in the mid lane. The team was not behind him. They were trying to focus the tier 2 top tower, and now without Arteezy. Now's what the fight, but Shopify, they're going to try and turn back in on Yamsun, who does BKB and pop the Stone Gaze. Did run out of mana, so needed to disengage out of this situation. It's a bit of a shame they can't capitalize a little bit more off the death of Arteezy, but nevertheless, like, killing off Arteezy himself still going to be a huge deal here for for Nouns.
It's a massive deal. That stalls out any other play Shopify Rebellion might look to do in this downtime. Gunner is back up. So not too many worries left for Nouns, having him back into play. BKB not too far off for Gunner as well. So the same plays he did to burst down this Timber Saw with a fresh BKB, not going to be possible. It's a long duration BKB that's going to be coming through. And for Shopify Rebellion, you need a lot more items to come out. Like this lead on Yamsun, 4k above, is one major item above Arteezy right now. Arteezy still needs his Scotty to try to mitigate, try to get some slows, slow down the healing as well from Nouns. And for Shopify Rebellion, we just need to see like the Vac Wall linking into the Chain Frost. If you can, again, connect these spells, that's going to be a big key to your success on Shopify Rebellion's part. Fly is trying to go for the Ocarina. I mean, he has the gold for it already, so could just again start the spam play on the Chain Frost. He has the spell prism as well. Heck, even just the lower cooldown Sinister Gaze is massive. There is a little bit of a lack of stuns on Shopify Rebellion, so the Gaze is going to be one way. And again, it's a little bit weird, but Stone Gaze can kind of help you burn through Medusa mana percent-based drain. It's a bit weird, but you could do it.
There's two gazes in the game. It's very hard for us to tell the difference. Sinister Gaze,
the Sinister
Stone Gaze.
Gaze, yeah. Isn't it? The Stone Gaze is pretty sinister as well, though, isn't it?
I suppose it is. Very petrifying, isn't it, Jonathan?
Yeah,
now
there you go. That's the word.
I don't think petrifying is actually a word, by the way. I think I just made that up.
Petrifying is a word.
Petrify is a word, but I don't know if petrifying is the word.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay. Well, Nouns do smoke up as 4. Another Dagon being built up, this time from Lelis. Of course, these Dagons are very effective again against the Darkseer illusions, which is why they're doing it. Another smoke up. Then I'm going to sit on the high ground cliff. acting as the ward here for Nouns. Shopify Rebellion know exactly where they are based off that Illuminate. Nouns do retreat a little bit. Mind you, there's no vision here. Well, in fact, there is Nouns. They do have a nice ward by the Twin Gates. They're going to try and play around that, but they do catch out at least Yamsun with a nice illusion. They're trying to burst it down. Yamsun already very low on mana. Now he's completely out of mana. He's still just going to go for the man fight. Still stick around as Arteezy, speaking of man fight, just jumps right in onto Gunner. The Timber able to barely chain away his Arteezy. Oh, he goes too far. Meanwhile, Gunner is somehow still alive throughout this whole engagement. He survived on like 200 HP. They just didn't have enough. And Roshan, thankfully for Shopify, is still 45 seconds away. But Nouns, they are proving not to be messed with here in this game one. Even with all the illusions, unless they completely jump Yamsun, it's just proving not to be enough.
It's certainly not enough. I'm looking at the death summary of Arteezy again. He did 1.5k damage to himself. And,
he's doing good damage to the Timber. But
he is.
Yeah.
It's just he's not sustaining true. I think that's the issue. Like, your Blood Rage Shard damaging you as well is pretty painful on top of the Blood Mist, so it's actually really hard to sustain in the middle of those fights. And it was only really Arteezy that was up front there trying to deal with Gunner. Everyone else was kind of scattered around trying to find multiple targets, but not quite lining up. Nouns now, and Roshan is back up. They are in position to maybe just switch down bot if they want, although nighttime is coming in. So they're setting up for the top Roche take. Shopify Rebellion can't afford to play against that. Like, it's getting harder and harder for them to look for multiple lives on the Timbersaw and the Dusa. They're smoking up. The wall is back up here, along with the Chain Frost. And the Roche Pit is a very tight area they could maximize these spells in.
Yeah, the back wall's going to be very effective, though. Husky is in position to break the smoke and will jump in after seeing the CM. He wants at least one support gone. And Husky, well, he's tanking through it with the Glimmer Cape. He's actually buying a little bit too much time, I think, but he is dead. Still Nouns. Now do Rupture up Moose, or rather Moo, on the Primal Beasts. He will turn around for a Pulverize back in onto Saberlight. The Darkseid will be able to get force-staffed away, so he's just fine as Moo does drop in Nouns. It seems like they can't take the team fight. They need to back out of here, but they're still going to try. Gunner moving in onto the Rubik. Does at least find one. Meanwhile, Yamsun still pretty healthy. He'll turn around now. Shopify, have they gone too far? I think they may have. They'll lose the Lich as well. Fly is down. Still Saberlight jumping back in onto Yamsun. Finding more illusions, but they're still proving not to be enough. Yamsun, finally out of mana, will walk out of there. As now Shopify, they do have dibs on Roshan. I think Nouns, it'll take them too long to reset. Shopify, are they going to try for it? Roshan, it's not looking the healthiest at the moment. They will get started. But Nouns, they are still hanging around that tier 1 top tower, or rather just the tier 1 top tower spot. But they are going to back off. Roshan is going to go the way of Shopify Rebellion.
That's a big win for them. They, again, aren't able to pierce through the big tanky heroes in the Deuce and Timbersaw. But you take care of Moo, one really big disruptive part of that fight. You manage to melt the mana on Gunner. You make that fight really uncomfortable for them to try to force a longer engagement out of. Shopify Rebellion take away that Aegis from the side of Nouns. They give themselves some play action here. Refresh up as well for Saberlight. So double wall, double vac. That could be the difference maker coming out here now as well for the side of Shopify Rebellion. So you have tools on hand. You've got a way to play. Now they're not out of it, and they've been playing at the deficit for so long, but it doesn't even feel like the net worth is a big factor. It's just simpler to take the fights for now. It's just so much easier to execute. You see them jump in, get that Stone Gaze off. You know, you have nothing to be worried about. Gunner can stand up front. The physical damage, it doesn't hurt him. The magical damage, it takes too long to try to melt him down. That Artur just ends up hurting himself in confusion.
Oh, no. In a corner. They barely miss out for now. Arbed, Rolling Thunder, right on time. In fact, it cancelled off the onslaught, so now that's on cooldown. Moo, he's going to be KB, but he has no TP available. He just has to try and buy time for the onslaught. In fact, he's trying to fight back now with the rock throw. It's not going to be enough, though. He is down. Shopify finding a very valuable pick. And maybe now they can try to pressure high ground and force a buyback out of this Primal Beast.
That's the open they can gun for. They've still got this double vac wall ready to go on Saberlight. And they've got the Chain Frost back off cooldown here for Fly. They've got the tools to force this defensive fight away from the side of Nouns. You see how they execute on top of this. Nouns, they're still pretty scary.
Double wall is painful though for Yamsun. Like, these Medusa illusions have been hurting the mana pool of Yamsun a lot here throughout this game. And 2 walls plus the normal punch, his mana pool is going to melt. The tier 3 tower getting very low now. Arteezy's also very low, but he still has the Aegis, so looks like he's willing to sacrifice it if necessary, but just heals up on the creep wave instead. There goes your tier 3. That seems like it's probably going to be enough because Mu is respawning in 10 seconds. They are going to retreat, maybe go back for the Wisdom Runes and just reset for the next fight. No need to force it.
No need to overextend here. Age is still up for 2.5 minutes. You can look for an opportunity elsewhere. Side of Nouns, they've got their Tormentor to take. If they do want to, you can just boost their gold a little bit. And for the side of Shopify Rebellion, again, they've got control down bot. They'll play in this lane. They'll keep the lane constantly shoved in. Threaten the creep wave to shove onto the racks. You're more than happy with just kind of taking it this way. It's rather strange as we approach, say, the 50 to 60 minute mark into the late game, because theoretically the Dusa should be the ultimate late game hero, but there are still ways to manage it. And the fact that it's only your Dusa that's ahead in net worth right now is pretty concerning. Gunner's not able to pull ahead. There's only so much scaling a Timbersaw and a Primal Beast can do as well. So it doesn't simplify too much for now as the game goes on. At the same time, Shopify Rebellion also don't gain as much now in terms of scaling, as they're almost fully slotted up on most of their heroes here. So again, this game, it just boils down to execution, boils down to who plays as a better team here. And it's always good to see that, because I feel like that's something we've missed out on from quite a lot of our series. This is living up to the hype, Mike.
Yeah, it certainly is. This is a very close matchup here between these two teams. No, it just keeps getting better and better, even though with 18k net worth lead for Shopify Rebellion, it's not translating to the win percentage you'd think of with that kind of lead. 24% still standing for Nouns. Still, I mean, obviously Shopify in a pretty big lead here in this game 1 matchup. 51 minutes in now. I love the fact that you've got the shards as well on Saberlight. Like this trail that the Surge leaves behind, it's a 50% slow. Like, it's pretty ridiculous. Like, if you jump in with Surge, you hit the Medusa, and she gets trapped in that slow, it can be pretty hard for Yamsun to get out of it. Like, even with, yeah, you've got the Force Staff, but assuming it's already been used up, things can get pretty rough.
It can be really hard, considering that you have the Nullifier as well on Arteezy, so got some ways to just and try to keep that Dusa locked into that slow. Still, they slow down the game a little bit. Shopify Rebellion. Aegis is gone. Just expires a few seconds ago. Next Roche still in 3 minutes. So that's 3 minutes of recovery for now. It's 3 minutes to look for an opportunity outside of their high ground. And again, their lineup is still set up really well. Octarine for Gunner. Lower cooldown spell spam. He's got the Dagon with all the recipes queued up. It's just more output to just try to burst down some of these targets on Shopify Rebellion for Shopify's part. And you're pretty much done on Arteezy with Farm Swift Blinks up and running on him. You've got the Overwhelming Blink for Ovid going into the Travels too. Saberlight just trying to go for the Disarm, which will help the cause up against that Dusa. But again, we're reaching that point where almost everyone's fully slotted up. Yamsun's going for a refresh, could probably eat a Ag's Blessing as well. And then you're pretty much set. That's the Dusa all done and dusted at that point. So it'll just be down to who finds these openings, who plays as a better team, who gets the angle, who gets their teamfight combos online. And double Stone Gaze, double BKB is pretty scary in Yamsun, to be fair. But
I'll tell you what,
it's still workable.
This is a... Couldn't help but notice Arteezy's holding the Martyr's plate for a tier 4 item, which is a weird one to hold as a pos 1. Because you do
The
reflect...
magic res, I think, more than anything. Like,
Yeah, but
he's
as well as
hurting
that,
way too much.
Because he has the shield, right? Like from the Blood Mist. So he's taking quite a bit of damage out of that. Is Yamsun gonna get jumped? Wall is dropped. A lot of damage already being dealt to Yamsun, but he will kind of get the mana back with the Mystic Snake, and he'll be just fine as Husky. The only one to drop so far, Abed. He's pretty damn deep. So he does get petrified by the Stone Gaze. He is gone. Abed is down. The Saberlight gonna jump in again. Still trying to drain the mana of Yamsun, but he's still fine with the Mystic Snake. Still standing his ground. Meanwhile, Crit, he got the Stone Gaze off back and onto the Medusa. Yamsun still somehow surviving, but should go down. He has no mana to speak of. It does come in now. He'll go for the Manta, but eventually he will drop. Crit with the Stone Gaze, getting through the mana pool of Yamsun. That's one way to do it. They'll force the buyback out of the Medusa. And that'll be enough for Shopify. They do back off as nouns. They're going to smoke up as 4. But that's one thing to be wary of, John. Like, with the illusions plus the Stone Gaze that Crit had, it's a lot of damage on this Deuce.
It really is. It's a lot of output, and you have to watch that stolen gaze. The stolen Stone Gaze coming out. It's everything that Medusa doesn't want to face up against, especially with all the illusions coming out. The softened, the increased physical bonus damage does feel pretty damn good. The Bloodseeker gets to run around. Artur gets to do a lot more in these fights as well. Now it's still trying to posture in. 2.5 minutes till Roshan. A little bit of a longer timer here. So neither side going to be able to find some sort of advantage to go into that next fight, into the next set of objectives. Shopify Rebellion, good read. Instantly smoked up themselves, heading up top.
I mean, Roshan's still a while away, but they don't know that. So Shopify got to make sure that they're in position to contest this. As now, Sablight's actually got the AoE surge now, so he's leaving multiple trails with his team. And again, these slow for 50%. So look at this, nouns on the high ground, grouped up as 4. Lelis right behind them on the low ground. They're going to pop a smoke. But Shopify Rebellion do not see what they wanted. They back the hell out of it. They're not feeling safe about this. Keep in mind, Shopify, they don't have any vision around this area. All the wards are all basically nouns wards. And that can make life a little bit challenging for Shopify to try and take a successful team fight. They do at least get 1D ward here in the top lane. Gunner gonna reveal himself. Saberlight, he's jumped in. He'll go right onto Moo. Moo's still gonna be fine, though the wall was dropped here by Saberlight, as now he'll turn his attention onto Husky. And so instead, they've got the CM down. Meanwhile, Fly, though, by the Twin Gates, should also drop, so it'll be a pos 5 for a pos 5 trade. Though Fly does have buyback, and Husky does not. 1 minute left for Roshan to respawn, so both teams are still hanging around. Saberlight, again, gonna jump in with the normal punch. It is on Gunner, though, so it's not the biggest deal here for Gunner. But Saberlight, he's just trying to be as annoying as humanly possible. And the thing is, with Roshan spawning in 45 seconds, John, you should have a pretty big advantage to Shopify, assuming Fly does commit his buyback for the big fight. Nouns, looks like they've decided this is not safe and they want out of this, though I say that. Gunner moving onto the high ground by himself. Yamsun trying to loop around perhaps as Gunner does chain away. Rolling Thunder was committed. Fly did buy back into this fight. Saberlight, they're going to find the Timber Saw, but Yamsun pops the Stone Gaze a little bit preemptively. Stone Gaze is now down. Wall will be dropped. Saberlight trying to move in with a big vacuum. He's found 3 targets and Crit. He's got the freezing field. Yamsun's out of mana again. Yamsun is gone. Saberlight with a triple kill. He's gonna force the BKB TP away. Oh, and now they don't react quick enough after the Stone Gaze committed. Saberlight sees the opening with the 3-man back into the wall. And Crit just slowing them with the freezing field stolen. A perfect combination.
They're executing so damn well in Shopify Rebellion. No buyback on Deduce for a little bit more time there as well. And just the positioning from Shopify Rebellion. We saw announced they were backed off into the corner. They had no angle there. They were just trying to wait it out, try to see if someone on Shopify would show in the lane, maybe overextend a bit, get pushed all the way back, and that's just the perfect position for Shopify Rebellion to leverage their heroes, leverage this team fight. Aegis on hand. They've got the capability now to pretty much just go high ground with a refresh shard on hand as well for Abed. So everything you could ask for is now lining up here. So just get started.
Saberlight. He's going to be okay. Husky, the one in danger, does pop his own freezing field to try and walk away from this, but it is going to be stolen, it looks like, by Crit. In fact, no, it's the Frostbite that does get taken. Still, Husky is down. Again, remembering there is no buyback available on him or Yamsun. Shopify Rebellion look to take a lot off this high ground. So Abed does hold them back. Saberlight going to move back in now onto the Keeper of the Light. Does drag him back with the vacuum, so Arteezy can get the job done and Crit will take the kill. Meanwhile, Abed is still messing around here with the Timber of Gunner. Abed will back his way out. Very low HP, but not low enough to take down here for Gunner, as he has to play it safe, knowing he does not have... I say he plays it safe. He jumps in again, but he will TP with the BKB, and he will be fine to get out. Mid-racks, though. That cannot TP away.
No.
It looks like Shopify might have enough time to get the Megas up. Yamsun's still 10 seconds away. Should maybe make it in time to try and force a fight, but they're going to go now. Nouns, he'll make the jump in. They're on Saberlight. The Darkseer is gone. Moo, that's a big onslaught. He landed on 4 heroes, but he's in such big trouble. Moo is down, but here comes Yamsun. He'll try to fight with Gunner. They've got Crit down. Flies in danger as well, barely walking away with the Glimmer Cape. Meanwhile, Arteezy being slowed up, but in comes Saberlight, trying to save his teammate, but Arteezy's gone. Arteezy is down. He has buyback available, but he can't get there in time. So Abed gonna jump in. Look at the damage output. Abed, he does it himself. Yamsun and Moo both dropping to the Pango. There's Gunner trying to escape. He's so low on mana. He's just being harassed down by the illusions of the Darkseer, as Gunner surely has no way out. Still trying to tank through it. Will chain away. Still healing up a little bit, but it's not enough. He can buy back into this fight, but it'll be a 2v4 scenario as Arteezy has brought back. Abed, looking to be the target, will just pounce away with the shield crash. Gunner maxing out the Dagon to level 5 now, as this is practically the last chance they have to defend tier 4s without Yamsun. Naturally, we are 60 minutes into the game and we are not going to see tier 5 items as is tradition. Saberlight's going to jump in. Husky's going to be the target. Meanwhile, Gunner gets hexed up by Fly, who has the sight device up. Gunner trying to chain back to the fountain is not going to be able to make it. That has to be it. Shopify just focusing on the tier 4 towers. Nouns maybe having a bit of a conversation as to what went wrong in this game 1. Still trying to defend with Husky. Might find Abed's Aegis, but that's only the Aegis as Husky is gone. GG is called. Yamsun's seen enough. And Nouns, I'll tell you what, John, they were looking good around that 30-40 minute mark here in this game 1, but Shopify Rebellion